Hey, Magic fans. We're back again. It's time for the second video today. We're going to double it up on you because we got Phyrexian leaks, or should I say, all is one, because we've been completed, and it is time to look at Planeswalker mechanics and the cards that are coming out that have just been leaked in one way, shape, or another to kind of give us an idea of what may be coming. These could be secret layer leaks, they could be very other things. All kinds of speculation, promo, FOMO, NOMO, COMO, HMO. Anyway, but either way is to drive up the hype chain, ladder, whatever, to get people interested in new Phyrexia since Wizard has done a pretty good job of just pissing in everyone's Cheerios, especially their customers, which we know that that's a good way to sell product. So, with that said, guys, don't forget, try and get to 1,000 subs, so hit us up. Sub now, sub later, sub often. I love subs. Anyway, so before we get started, we were going to run through what we know of the mechanics now, so I don't have to go through every card when they come up. So without further ado, let's take a look at the mechanics. If you know the mechanics, feel free to skip this part. Things of mechanics. So we're going to get poison counters and proliferate. So if you don't know, poison counters are the old school thing where if you have 10 poison counters, you lose the game. Proliferate is basically you can add or subtract. Pretty sure it's just add. Um, yeah, pretty sure it's just add. A counter to something of any type. Now, that could be a +1/+1 or a -1/-1, which is technically taking away a counter, but not really. Anyway, or just adding counters and generals. So, the new trait that they have is called Toxic, which is, it says here they're trying to rework Poisonous, or let's be honest, they're trying to fix Infect. Where instead of giving poison counters as a triggered ability, it's more like lifelink when they're added instantaneously when a player is dealt combat damage by a creature. They also get poison counters, which if you take damage and poison counters, that's kind of like saying, I'm going to give you poison, infect, and regular slap you in the face damage all at the same time, which honestly sounds worse than infect. But we won't go there right now because we're just trying to do some stuff. Yeah, anyway. So we also have an ability called Corrupted, where is a threshold that certain abilities will trigger if an opponent has a certain amount of poison slash oil counters or counters of some kind. We'll see oil counters, we'll see poison counters. You can see down here that oil counters is a new thing going on. So it looks like we're going to get mites as a creature type as well. Plus, planeswalkers are mythic and rare, with a total of 10 in the set, and rebels are seen for the first time since Time Spiral Block, where they were broken. The rebels will represent Mirian survivors, which who knew that happened? I thought Phyrexia just killed everybody. Anyway, so without further ado, let's hit up these special spoiler cards and see what's jumping and hopping. So first thing we're going to talk about is this first one that's been spoiled here. This is Nissa Ascended Animist. Notice this is 5 mana, well, technically 7, 2 green and 3, and then 2 Phyrexia mana on green. It says it's that this Nissa is completed. There'll be a completed version of every Planeswalker, I think, which will be kind of cool. This one for +1, it comes with 7 loyalty. For +1, you get an XX green Phyrexian Horror creature token where X is Nissa's Ascended Animus' loyalty, which I don't think that changes. I think it's whatever loyalty is at the time you plus it. So that could be good and bad. We'll have to see how that plays out. -1, destroy target artifact or enchantment. That's pretty sweet, but then again, for 7 mana, you deserve that. And then down there, I'm going to say it looks like a minus. Could be a -1, to be honest with you. Let's hope not, though, because it looks like it says in a turn, creatures you control get +1/+1 for each forest you control, and they gain trample. Which, that's overrun on a stick, because if you've got 5 forests, which is probably what you're going to play this with, because mono green can be a thing with this, everything gets +5/+5 and trample. And good God, look out. So, yeah, so on the post that this was made, everybody's like, is it real? Is it not real? There's also a Jace. There's also a Vraska. They were very hard to read, so I'm not going to waste your time with it. But let's just say that the hand that was holding it, that supposedly snuck the pictures out as a leak, one of the other thumbnails has a Phyrexian poison counter painted onto it. So if you can't say Wizards employee, I don't know what you can say, but we'll just go with that. So that's the latest things come out. Also, too, if these are going to be one of the special cards in the set, this is going to be sexy. This is probably what they're going to be calling the raised slick oil or oil slick or anyway. It's a new kind of foiling which will be specific to new phyrexia, which will be sweet. I'm not going to lie. So after this, we had a couple spoilers come out yesterday, which I was kind of shocked with. One of them is the blighted rat or blight belly rat, and that is the ugliest thing I have ever seen. It looks like a termite. But anyway, moving on. It's a black and one for a 2/2, which is not bad for rate as an uncommon. Um, it has toxic 1, which means if this deals damage to you, you take 2 damage plus you get 1 poison counter. The best of both worlds. And when it dies, you get to proliferate. And when you proliferate, you can proliferate your opponent's poison counters. Don't forget that. So if this thing hits you once, it's okay to just swing and let it die because they're going to get another counter. This thing looks really good as an uncommon, and I think it's probably going to see a lot of play. Because if we get some that are better than this as far as toxic and the abilities, which I'm sure we will, this is horrifying. Get it? Horror, friction, horror. Anyway, moving on. So, next one we got is we have the Bone Picker Scourge. So, black and 2 for 2/2 has flying. This is a Phyrexian Imp. It has Corrupt. As long as the opponent has 3 or more poison counters, it gets Death Touch and Lifelink. Not too shabby. So again, I'll just point this out real quick. All the cards have this weird foiling with the Phyrexian symbol. Um, I'm not sure if that's what the foils will look like in the set. God, I hope so. That's sexy. But at least, if nothing else, there'll probably be a secret layer. Moving on. We also have the Canker Bloom. That is disgusting. Canker Bloom. Ew. Anyway, green and 1 for a 3/2. Hello. This uncommon, for 1, you can sacrifice it to destroy an artifact, destroy an enchantment, or proliferate. Those are some insane abilities. This is an uncommon for the love of all that is apparently unholy. This is going to definitely be a card because, I mean, a 3/2 for 2 is already good. The extra ability to destroy artifacts and enchantment, especially coming off the backs of Brothers War. Ugh. And if you're running Toxic while you're at it, you can proliferate somebody to death. So, you know, kind of good. All right, moving on. Next we have whatever that thing's called up there. I can't even see what it costs. Um, anyway, it looks like it's green. It looks like it's an elf druid. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, it's a 1/2 that you can put an oil counter on it by tapping it, and you can tap and remove an oil counter from it to untap a target land. So it's almost a mana dork. Almost. But let's be honest. I mean, the only thing it's missing is flying from being a really good card. But if it flew, it'd have to be an O2, and then you have a golden goose. And anyway, moving on. I'm gonna guess this is probably 1 green because that's what it feels like. It's a common, so it could be a green and 1. We'll have to wait and see. But it's a Rustvine Cultivator, so moving on. Next we have Necrogen Rot Priest. There we go. I found it. So black, green, and 2 for an uncommon. It's a 1/5. It's got Toxic 2, so you don't even care. You just want it to do damage, because once it does damage, it's popping off 2. You just got to hit them 5 times. So whenever a creature you control with Toxic deals combat damage to a player, that player gets an additional poison counter. Oh, never mind. You only got to hit them 3 times. Well, 3 times would be technically 9. So 4 times, 1 less time. But if you have extra Toxic creatures, guess what? Anyway, so for a green, black, and 1, target creature you control with Toxic gains Death Touch in a turn. This is disgusting. For the simple fact, this thing's a 1/5. How are you going to kill it? And if you give it Death Touch at will, it's always coming in hot. And apparently greasy and slimy and oily. Kind of like a bodybuilder with baby, what the hell is that stuff called? Baby lotion on. All slimed up. Anyway, moving on. Good card. Next we have this little fella, the Bladed Ambassador. This is a white and 1 for a 3/1. He enters with an oil counter on it. For 1, he can remove an oil counter. He gains Indestructible to end of turn. So if you have something that proliferates, this guy may never die. And for 2 mana for a 3/1, he's good. So good. Um, so yeah, good uncommon, great card for white. It's even a soldier to go in the soldier decks. I mean, what more could you want in life? You know, other than Wizards of the Coast to sell magic to somebody who actually want to do it right. But anyway, moving on. Next we have Urbrask Anointer. So for a red and 3, you get a 4/2. It's a Phyrexian wizard. When it enters the battlefield, deal X damage to any target where X is the number of permanents you control with oil counters on them. Now, this doesn't have oil, so it doesn't do any damage, but everything else can have oil. And when I look at this card, the first thing I think of is Flame Tongue Kavu. Except it can do more than 4, or it can just do flat nothing. But if oil counters is part of your theme, this is an amazing removal card for 4 mana for a 4/2. Wow. Because it also says any target. You could blast your opponent off the table with this thing, which I'm almost positive is going to be a thing in common. What the heck? Um, Not commander either. I meant standard. I'm getting there. I swear. It's late. I'm tired. Um, so yeah, great card. I love it. I like it. This is going to be a crazy set. It's going to be real fun, real quick, and then it's probably going to be one of those sets that gets real annoying real quick because it's going to be so broken. So, but what can you do? So, without further ado, guys, thanks a lot for watching. That is all the cards that we've got previewed. If you're here because you came back a couple hours after the last video, thank you very much. If you just found this video, I mentioned I was going to post this in the previous video, so go watch the previous video because you should. It's the right thing to do. Anyway, so don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. The comments are going to feed the YouTube algorithm as we try to get to 1,000 subscribers. If you haven't subbed yet, now's a good time as well. If you have subbed, thank you very much. If you guys want to help out also, you can get links in the description to the eBay store, my Patreon page, and my email's in there if you just want to say hey, and, you know, reach out and touch someone because I get tired of touching myself. So, with all that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, be kind. And as always, I hope to see you across from the game table.